Welcome to the official podcast of the British Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. Whether you're a seasoned dental professional, an eager student, or simply someone curious about the intricacies of cosmetic dentistry, you're in the right place. Here at the BACD, we bring together the brightest minds, groundbreaking research, and innovative practices from across the UK and beyond. In each episode, we aim to delve deep, offering insights, sharing stories, and demystifying the beautiful world of cosmetic dentistry. I'm Simon Chard, President of the BACD, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on this enlightening journey. Let's dive right in.
So, hello Isabella, thank you so much for joining me this evening. You are kindly giving up some of your time so that we can discuss what you're going to be doing at this year's BACD conference.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Christopher, and thank you for this wonderful organisation.
Not at all. So, obviously, you are familiar with London because you're a very exotic speaker. You're not just confined to one international location. You literally work in two different sites, right?
Well, yes, but to be fair, I normally work in one country. However, circumstances have brought me to London many years ago, where I've spent beautiful 8 years of my life. And I have been working full-time in London all of these 8 years. After which, due to personal reasons, my husband in particular, we had to go back to Italy, and so we transferred family and clearly work as well in Italy. So now my base, when it comes to work base and family base, is in Milan, in Italy. However, my heart is in London as well, and I couldn't let go of London, so I've kept basically 1 week out of the 4 in the month back in London, where it's my second home. Let's put it that way.
So is your passport? Have you got a British passport or an Italian passport?
I have an Italian passport, but I'm applying for my sons to have a British passport.
I see. And is your husband Italian or is he British?
Yes, 100%.
Okie-dokie. So what brought you to the UK for such a protracted amount of time in the first place? Is that where you met your husband?
No, my husband brought me because of his job. He's a lawyer, and we moved because of his job, and then we moved back to Milan because of his job. So I'm the follower.
Got you. So obviously, I was reading your CV, which for anyone listening to this, you can download from Isabella's website. It is impressive, to say the least. It is a long document. No. And so hence I was reading on there about where you trained and obviously about nationality and things like that. What are you most proud of on that CV?
Without any doubt, my time spent in Boston, because I've always been very stubborn, and there was a possibility to go and become a research fellow at the Harvard Dental School. And this for me was a great opportunity, because you have to consider, I studied in Italy, in Milan, in my uni, and then I went through the typical training at the university hospital in Milan. And then the idea of leaving and going to the States and having, to meet in person, the big Nevins, Ron Nevins and Mark and all the, Joe Fiorellini, who's the chair at that time. Really, these big personalities for me was a dream. And so I won a scholarship, which was quite peculiar, because it was meant to be won by medical students, not by dental students. Somehow I managed to get that. Don't ask me how, because I don't know. And then I left, and I've spent beautiful, beautiful time there. And I think that really honestly changed the course of in a way, the career, because it taught me how to do research, it taught me how to write, and in a way I was in the right moment, in the right place.
Okay. And looking at your CV here, did that start around 1998? Is that right? It says here.
No, 1998 I started my A-levels. I'm not that old.
Oh, but no, I'm just at the start here, because there's just so much stuff on here that it's incredible to keep up with. So we've got University of Milan 1998. We then got San Paulo in Milan in 2000, yes. New York in 2003, correct. Boston comes up here, I see 2004, 2005. Exactly. So, like I say, absolutely incredible. And of course, the other thing that catches my eye, and certainly our listeners, I'm sure, from 2014, you are the lecturer for the Diploma in Implant Dentistry at our much-loved Eastman Institute.
Yes. Yes.
So, and that's something you still do now?
Yes, that has been going on for now quite a long time, and it's always a pleasure. But now specifically, I'm working with Francesco D'Aiuto, the chair of the Peri department at UCL, and we're doing lots of interesting research, which I will show possibly in London in November.
Well, you have led me on perfectly, because I say once we get past the first few pages, we then got all your publications on here and everything, and obviously, so there's lots of publications going on here. What's your favourite publication you've done?
I suppose that my favourite publication was the very first publication that we did. Well, I have two favourites. I have the massively, which I didn't like doing it because it was too much of a hassle, but the first systematic review on vertical ridge augmentation, which was presented at the EFP Consensus Conference, and that's a 2008 one. Yep. But it took me, it was easier to produce my 3 children, to be honest with you. It was just like so long and so intense. And I still remember around Christmas time when Maurizio Tonetti, who was in charge of the reviewers, he called me and said, no, this has to be redone. And at that stage, I literally wanted to cry. And so that was a big hassle. Mm-hmm. Happy and glad I did it. Never do it again.
Because I see here, you say that was 2008. Here, straight off 2009, vertical ridge augmentation again, by means of guided bone regeneration, past, present and future, edited by none other than Daniel Boozer. So there we go. Lots of big names all over the place there.
Yes.
So tell us, what do we have to look forward to from you in November?
I think that one of the most interesting aspects of the lecture will be based on, first of all, how clinical it will be, how practical, because at the end of the day, I am a clinician. I'm lucky enough to treat patients on an everyday basis, and I think that for us clinicians, this is exactly what gives us the energy to carry on day after day, the gratification that we receive from our patients. And so the actual presenting the difficulties, presenting the challenges of our profession, I think that's something that I'm very honest about. I don't like to show cases just simplifying them and thinking that they're straightforward. Those cases require so much that I'd like to come to put this across. And the second aspect is complications, which I'm very keen in sharing, because normally speakers like to share somebody else's complications, whereas I like to share my own complications to show when things go wrong, how to deal with them, and frankly, how to improve yourself to the point that the percentage decreases significantly. Once you always say, and you would confirm that you learn way more than when things go not as expected, rather than everything flows well. So so these two aspects, I think, I'm very honest. I'm very practical. And
why do you think in our profession, because as you say, that is unusual, why is it we don't talk about failure more, do you think, in dentistry? Because we've all got failures, and if you haven't done enough, right?
Yes, of course, but I think it's very obvious, it's very clear. There's a lot of ego, there's a lot of not wanting to share our own, failures, complications, something that went wrong. It's easier to share some spectacular cases, that's for sure. However, it's a question of being very intellectually honest with peers.
It's a real problem in healthcare, isn't it? Have you read the book Black Box Thinking by Matthew Said?
No, but I will.
Oh, it's a fantastic book, and it's all about failure, and it compares different industries and how they address failure. And it looks in particular at airlines who have a completely different approach to failure that we do in healthcare, where it is very publicly discussed, everyone learns from it, it's a very open forum, but as you say, in healthcare it seems to be buried and hidden away, and I think what would be great if moving forwards in our profession, failure could be discussed more, because certainly with implants it happens, and it often happens even though you've done everything seemingly right.
Yes, but I think that, Christopher, this is a very valid point, and I couldn't agree more. I must pay credit to Frank Renoir, who's from Paris, a very talented surgeon, and he was himself a helicopter pilot. And he has wrote books. He has written books, and he also has published many papers on failures in dentistry, taking it from the medical field and from the aviation. So it goes from the aviation to the medical to the dental. And I agree with you. It's still not spoken about. We had a brilliant session recently at the osteology meeting in Barcelona this a few months ago. And we had the whole session only on errors and mistakes, but not necessarily clinical mistakes where things didn't go as expected because the drill wasn't working well or because the implant was not the right implant. Far from this. Understanding why things do not work. Is it because our brain doesn't work? Is it because our eyes do not see specifically in that specific moment? I don't know, the malpositioning of something. It's really understanding how the brain works. And I found it very, very enlightening and interesting. But we really have to pay credit to him because he's the one who's spreading the word in our field.
Well, I say people have got to be brave about it and change the way it is, and probably actually our regulator needs to reconsider its position on some things as well, because I don't think they're always potentially as helpful as they could be in those fields. So your session is on the Thursday, the 9th of November, for anyone listening who's wondering when it is. The BACD conference is 3 days. Isabella is kindly presenting on the Thursday, which is our sort of hands-on session day. Further information on it can be found obviously at www.bacd.com. If there's going to be one takeaway message, Isabella, of a sort of the unique selling point, the key learning objective, what would you say it's going to be from your session?
That diagnostics or the diagnostic phase is the absolute mandatory number one, super duper important phase. We cannot avoid investing time, dedication, learning, especially now with all the digital technology. So the diagnostic phase is crucially important. And again, most importantly, there are no shortcuts in these kind of surgeries. We have to be humble, learn, and work with every single very strict surgical protocol so that we don't make any mistakes.
Fantastic. And of course, we have to give huge thanks to Geitschlik, who are supporting you at our event. Without their support, these things wouldn't be happening. Their products, they're obviously something you use in your daily practice.
Yes.
Which one out of their product range is your favourite?
Well, I've been using Geitschlik Bio Awesome Bio Guide for decades now, and frankly, the amount of research. So, as a clinician, I'm not using a product. I don't have any conflict of interest because I have been testing and trying and even doing the research years, many different substitutes. I must say the solidity of the scientific knowledge and background that Geitschlik provides makes you use these products in a very, very safe way. Sound so yeah, I definitely use those on a regular basis.
I've got to say, I personally really do enjoy using the BIOS collagen blocks.
Yes,
I just find the handling of it fantastic. I use that more now than I do the granules personally. I just find I get really good predictable results with it, particularly if I mix it up with some of the host bone as well.
It's brilliant.
It gives nice results. So they are products that I also use and support myself, and I'm not being paid to say that. Fantastic. So, well, what I would say is thank you so much for the introduction to your session. Thank you for your time this evening to give our listeners a heads up on what they can expect. And can I finalise by saying great minds obviously think alike because we use similar biomaterials. And I can't help but notice you look to be sat in sort of a fairly darkish, greeny room with a bookshelf and some books behind you there. And here I am with a very similar setup myself. So all I need now is the CV to back it all up, and I'm laughing.
All you need now is a wonderful plate of spaghetti.
Oh, well, I'll come round to yours then. And you can provide
Absolutely.
that.
Fly over and I'll cook for you.
Fantastic. Well, like I say, for anyone who wants to come and see Isabella, do log on to www.bacd.com. It is Thursday, the 9th of November, and it is at a lovely venue, the IET in London, just right by Waterloo Station. Stunning venue. And of course, we'll be having the gala dinner, and I'm sure it will be a great success. So thanks again to Gleitschlik. Thank you to Isabella for her time, and we will see you in November.